My son sent me a message that tore my soul apart. Mom, you're not invited to the launch. My partner thinks it's best. You don't fit the brand. I read it once, then twice, then a third time. The words didn't change, but something inside me did. My name is Margaret Hale. I am 68 years old, and until that moment, I believed there was no force stronger than a mother's love. I believed sacrifice could shield you from pain. I was wrong. I raised my son Ethan alone. His father walked out one rainy afternoon when Ethan was 4 years old. No note, no explanation, just silence. Ethan stood at the window for weeks asking, "Where's Daddy? Is he coming back?" I didn't know what to say because I didn't understand it myself. From that day on, life became heavy, but I carried it anyway. I worked cleaning office buildings downtown at night, fluorescent lights flickering, hallways empty, the smell of chemicals burning my hands. During the day, I cared for elderly patients who could barely remember their names. I lifted bodies heavier than mine, wiped tears, and cleaned wounds with a smile I didn't feel. I slept maybe 4 hours a night, if I was lucky. Yet every night, I tucked Ethan into bed, kissed his forehead, and whispered, "Everything will be okay." When Ethan was 13, he asked me why I worked so hard. "So you don't have to," I said. He nodded, serious, like a tiny man understanding sacrifice. Ethan was brilliant, curious, always asking questions about computers, technology, and how the world worked. When he told me he wanted to study computer science at a private university, fear twisted my stomach. I didn't have the money, but I said yes anyway. I sold my mother's jewelry, I pawned anything of value, I skipped meals, I cleaned houses in wealthy neighborhoods on weekends, kneeling on marble floors, scrubbing until my hands cracked. My back ached, my body ached, but I reminded myself every night, this is for Ethan. His future is worth every scar, every ache, every sacrifice. When he got accepted, he cried in my arms. "I'll make you proud, Mom," he said, and I already had. Graduation day felt like victory. Watching him walk across that stage, wearing a cap and gown I could barely afford, I felt rich for the first time in my life. He hugged me tight and whispered, "I'll never forget what you did for me." I believed him. After graduation came rejection letters, unpaid internships, low-paying jobs. I supported him through all of it, paid his rent, bought groceries, covered bills, encouraged him when he wanted to give up. I reminded him who he was and why he had to keep pushing. Then, one afternoon, he came to me with an idea. "Mom, this startup could change everything, but I need capital." "How much?" I asked. $2 million, he said softly. $2 million. My house, my retirement, my life savings. I didn't hesitate. "I'll do it," I said. That day, he hugged me like he had as a child. "You're the best mother in the world," he said. I sold my house, signed the papers, and moved into a tiny apartment. I told myself, this is love. This is everything. The first few months were wonderful. Daily calls, photos of the office, updates that made me feel like part of the journey. "Our company," he said proudly. "This is our dream, Mom." I felt included, needed, valued. Then Claire appeared. She was young, polished, always impeccably dressed. The first time she met me, she shook my hand lightly, a smile that didn't reach her eyes. She never called me Mom, just Margaret. Slowly, the tone changed. Ethan's calls became shorter, updates became vague, excitement turned into distance. One afternoon, I surprised them with lunch at the office. Claire stopped me at reception. "Visits need to be scheduled. This is a professional environment," she said politely. I waited for Ethan. He didn't come. I stopped being invited to meetings, celebrations, or milestones. I found out about major company achievements through social media. Then came the message, "You're bad for the brand." I stared at the phone, heart pounding. Bad for the brand, as if love had a dress code, as if sacrifice had an expiration date. I felt a cold, hollow weight settle into my chest. Everything I had done, every sleepless night, every blistered hand, every penny of my savings, it had meant nothing. To them, I was irrelevant, disposable, a liability. I confronted him once, trembling. I gave you everything, Ethan, everything, and now you're ashamed of me? He avoided my eyes. You don't understand business, Mom. No, I understood loyalty. I understood sacrifice. I understood love. Weeks passed. I tried to remind myself that Ethan was busy, that maybe this distance was temporary, that maybe I was overreacting, but every day brought a new cut, a missed call, a social media post showing him celebrating milestones I had financed, milestones I had dreamed of with him, milestones I wasn't allowed to attend. Claire became the gatekeeper of my son's life. She decided when I could speak to him, when I could visit, when I could even know about the company I had built with my life savings. Ethan listened to her like a child following instructions, and I slowly realized the depth of the betrayal. I thought back to all the years I had sacrificed for him. The nights I worked cleaning offices until 3 a.m., my hands raw, my body screaming, while he slept safely in our apartment. The mornings I dragged myself out of bed to feed him breakfast, to make sure he left for school ready and clean, while I barely had energy to wash my own face. The weekends I worked second jobs, cleaning homes in wealthy neighborhoods, while he enjoyed tutors, classes, and computer lessons that I couldn't have afforded without pain and effort. All of it gone, erased, replaced by someone else. I remembered when he first talked about starting his own company. His excitement was contagious. I had worked my entire life to give him freedom, opportunity, confidence, and when he looked at me, his eyes shined with trust and hope. I had given him everything I had, every cent, every sleepless night, every dream I had deferred for him, every ounce of myself I had poured into raising him. And now he was telling me that all of it was a liability, that my love was bad for the brand. I went back through my memories, each one sharper than the last. Ethan at 5 asking where his father had gone. Ethan at 10 asking why we couldn't afford the same toys as the other kids. Ethan at 13 asking why I worked so much. Ethan at 20 asking me to fund his education. Ethan at 25 asking me to fund his startup. Every time I had said yes, I had done so with hope, with love, with absolute faith in him. And every time he had forgotten the person who had been there first, the one who had never left, never faltered, never betrayed. The months passed. I became a spectator in my own son's life. Every achievement, every victory, every first milestone, I saw it online through Instagram posts, LinkedIn updates, photos of team dinners with Claire smiling beside him, a queen in his empire, while I was invisible. I tried calling, I tried visiting, I tried reasoning. I was polite, I was patient, I was ignored. "Mom, please respect our business schedule," he said once, frustrated, but not angry, just matter of fact. I wanted to scream. Respect? After everything? Respect for betrayal? I remembered the day I first met Claire. She had smiled, and I had smiled back, but that smile never reached her eyes. She looked at me like I was a ghost, something to be tolerated, not acknowledged. It was then that I realized she had poisoned my son's perception of me. She had whispered doubts, subtle insinuations, comments about how I was too present, too emotional, too maternal, and Ethan had listened. He had chosen her version of reality over me. I cried that night, alone in my tiny apartment, the only space I had left after selling my house. I thought of all I had sacrificed for him. I thought of my mother's jewelry sold to fund his education. I thought of my back, my hands, my knees, my years spent scrubbing floors, lifting bodies, giving up life so he could have it. And now I wept for the first time in years, not for me, but for the boy I had raised, the man he had become, the person I no longer recognized. I stopped visiting him. I stopped calling. I withdrew. I realized that love without respect is a trap, and sometimes to protect yourself, you have to let go. 2 years later, the company collapsed. Fraud, mismanagement, Claire disappeared. Ethan came to my door, broken, desperate. He needed me. I looked at him, the boy I had raised, the man who had forgotten me. I already gave you everything, I said, and you called it bad for the brand. He cried. I closed the door, not out of hatred, but out of self-respect. Success without gratitude is failure, and a brand built on betrayal never lasts.